Tammy ready? Okay. Let me move it over here. This desk is not good. Okay. I'd like to call to order the October 22nd, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. Commissioner DeBrow, would you please read the statement of purpose?
May our decisions today be made with wisdom, careful deliberation, and in the best interest of the city of Diamond Head. May we display patience and kindness in our dealings with each other and all who are in attendance, and may any decisions made today promote the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of Diamond Head and the enhancement of the city as a whole.
Okay. Commissioner Cook, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioner DeBrow? Here. Cook? Here. Nico? Here. Bennett?
Here.
Lael? Here. Brewer?
Here.
Flowers?
Here. The next item on the agenda is the confirmation or adjustments to the agenda. Are there any? Do we have a motion to accept or to?
Move to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Okay. The next item of business is the approval of minutes from the September 27th, 2022 meeting. Are there any adjustments or changes that need to be made, or can we have a motion to accept?
Move to accept.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. Okay, moving on to new business. And I would like to remind those joining us tonight that we will give you an opportunity to speak. We've got a sign-up sheet on the different agenda items. We do ask that, just as Commissioner DeBrow read in our statement of purpose, that we treat each other fairly and with kindness. I know that we can get heated and passionate about things that are on the agenda, but let's remember that we're all here with the city of Diamond Head and its betterment in mind. So, item number 3, which is Structures of Diamond Head Incorporated, represented by Jimmy Gurkowski, has submitted a sketch plat for townhouses of High Point for review, consideration, and approval. The sketch plat is a 17-lot, single-family, attached townhouse unit subdivision on a 2-acre tract of land being 067L, check 0, check 35, check 089.000. The subject property is in PTSE 1/4, check NE 1/4, 35, check 7, check 14. The property is bordered on 3 sides by High Point Drive and homes along Golf Club on the southwest. Okay. Mr. Rich.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. This is a new development, and it's already been described there. It's approximately 2 acres. They wish to develop that and put some townhomes in there, or townhouses in there. They came to us with the request for that. We have gone through for preliminary plat approval sketch plat approval, I'm sorry, is what we're asking for tonight. And there's certain criteria that must be met in order for that to be approved. They brought it to us. They have met all the requirements defined in the subdivision regulations as far as the sketch plan. They met all the requirements or exceeded the requirements for everything in the zoning ordinance plan. So it's a development of, let's see, 17 units, I believe is what it is.
Yes.
17 units on that 2-acre slot. This is, the criteria that we're using to judge this tonight have they met the requirements? Okay, and there's 11 of them. Street alignment, lot sizes, drainage, facilities, sewer and water, electricity, all those things. Also, whether you're going to have a storage area, what the drainage like is going to be on the property, whether they've met all those requirements or exceeded those requirements. So what you have before you today is just a matter of, this is a sketch plat is a design step in the process. Before you go invest big money in engineers and construction people and getting bids on that, you want to see if this would be acceptable to the city. Does it follow all the rules and regulations, and can you go ahead and proceed and with that investment to go ahead and do your preliminary plat, and then eventually go on and get your building permits and start the building process. This is the first step in that process, is the sketch plat approval.
Okay. Commissioners, do we have any questions for Mr. Rich?
Pat, as part of this, this is just the sketch plat, so this doesn't get into the, any of the ADA questions or any size of trees that they have to put back in, or any of those questions that may be forthcoming from the audience that's here.
No, it does not consider that. Now, one of the things that we look at in the sketch plat is we give them based upon the number of acres that you have here, we have determined that they have to keep 63 residual trees on that piece of property. There's also the tree ordinance that states that we have 2 protected trees. We have the lazy magnolia. Ooh, that was a slip. We have southern magnolia and live oak, and those are 2 protected trees that we have there. So you must get permission from an arborist to cut either one of those trees down. And we also have in place there that we can require, if they have to remove a tree, they could move it to someplace else, and if that's not a feasible issue, then have a replacement tree for that protected species. Part of what we do in the for the preliminary plat is we request that the developer give us a tree canopy and identify all of those trees that are protected species, so that we can look at that from an aerial view and say, okay, you've got some over here where you're going to be located, those contacts. We need those townhouses. We need to send our arborist out there to take a look at those. Okay,
So the arborist actually comes in and tags the trees, and then they make sure that they put proper screening and stuff around them from the drip line so they don't get root damage and what have you during the construction process.
you just jumped ahead about 3 steps there.
Sorry. Well, I'm just understanding that some of the questions that may be forthcoming, and I didn't know if there was some information we could add.
Yes, those trees would have to be protected, and yes, they would have to be marked off, because the guy operating the machinery is not going to have knowledge of that.
Right.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Rich? Okay.
A couple of things that I didn't mention here. There are some processes that we must go through in this, and part of it is the advertising aspect of this request for a sketch plat approval. And we have met those requirements. We have sent out to the Seacoast Echo, and it was advertised on October the 5th, I believe. This meeting was advertised with that in there. We also sent out to residents within a 200-foot radius of where this is going to be located to each of the residents there, or the property owners per the Hancock County Tax Assessor's Office, and mailed to them notification, just like we did in the newspaper there. And that was done, I believe, September the 30th. We got those out. So we've met those milestones there as far as advertising and providing the public with information on that, so.
Okay, and this is R3, which is the most dense populated residential zone.
Single family, yes.
Single-family
Yes,
zone.
yes.
And the minimum size is meeting our new requirements for square footage?
Yes,
Okay.
because we didn't change anything on R3, on the
Okay.
minimum square footage,
Okay,
okay?
And so they're not asking for any variances from the ordinance, anything of that nature. What they're asking for fits in this zoning district, and they're not asking for any consideration of any variances.
okay.
Two more things. We did in our, doing our due process in there, we got some comments from our city engineer, and from the fire department chief, and are incorporating those requirements as part of the conditions for approval of this sketch plan.
And so just to help along with kind of the process, because we do have quite a few folks in the audience, and I just want to make sure that everybody, we don't do these every day. You know, we don't have a lot of subdivisions that come to the city. We do have new subdivision regulations that we put in place a few years ago to assist the city council and the administration in kind of enforcing some of our rules. Before, there were no subdivision regulations in place. Many of the subdivisions that were built in Diamond Head were done prior to the city's incorporation. So, you know, now we've got some regulations to kind of protect the city. We mentioned the tree ordinance, it's one of the factors, and some others. So for you all tonight with the sketch plat, according to the subdivision regulations, Article 301 is the procedure for the approval of the sketch plat. And what you all are looking at specifically tonight is we need, if you look at 301.4, there's about 11 things that you all are looking to check the box to make sure these things are done, and I'll read them out to you. And as I read them out, I'll kind of ask Mr. Rich, hey, do we have it, or did we get it, or what, you know, where are we at on that? Does it comply? Have they met the requirement? To assist you, those are the things. And then as the residents, you know, as they get up and make their comments, express their concerns, and we'll obviously hear from the applicant as well. You can also consider the comprehensive plan, any other things that you guys want as we kind of consider this sketch plat and whether or not to make that recommendation to the city council. So on 301.4, they must submit a general layout drawing of the proposed development. And as you can see, and I'll speak for you, Pat, that what we've got there and what's been provided to the commissioners is a sketch of there are three structures, three buildings, differing number of units in each, and the layout of those buildings on the property is set forth. The location of the subdivision, so we've got the geoportal map. Is that correct, Pat?
Yes.
I'll ask you, I won't ask and answer the questions. Maybe
Go
I'll
ahead.
just, maybe I will let you answer. So the location of the subdivision, Mr. Rich.
Yes, we do.
Okay. And the street alignment.
Yes, it is shown on the drawing.
Okay, and so as part of their build-out, they're not adding any streets, are they?
That is correct. They're
Okay.
on three sides by High Point Drive, and on the fourth side is by homes along Golf Club Drive.
Okay. The lot sizes.
Lot sizes meet, in fact, exceed what is required of the ordinance.
The desired improvements, and that's the water lines, the power, easements, things like that? Are those all indicated on the map?
Yes, they are, and they're already all existing, so there should be no further utilities required there.
Okay, so that gets us to the location of existing and proposed utilities. Access roads, we've kind of talked about. Identification and delineation of floodplains based on the current FEMA firm map and drainage facilities.
Yes, we do have, this is in an X zone, so it's not in a flood zone. And also, just received documentation today that there are no wetlands on the property.
All right, you're jumping ahead of me a little bit, so I'm going to caution you there no, I'm just kidding. An executed and recorded warranty deed, so we do know that the applicant is the owner of the property, is that correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and the regulatory wetlands, and you just mentioned that we got a wetlands delineation and we're not dealing with any wetlands here.
Correct.
Okay. And any additional information that you've got from the developer, we can get him here and obviously the residents.
One quick question, Pat. On the backside of the residence or the
Mhm.
buildings, what is this? It kind of looks like a road on the backside.
There is going to be a service road that goes to the storage area that's identified there. And that's one of those things that the fire chief requested, to have a fire department access road there. So
Okay.
it'll have to be a road that'll handle the fire truck, and it'll have to be 26 feet wide, I believe is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yes, that'll be a requirement.
And that's where the dumpsters will probably be located?
I believe the dumpsters, I can't answer that question.
I'll get to that.
That was, yeah, one of my questions.
Pat, on the drainage map, which is it's marked item number 3. I think it's the last drawing. It's the last drawing before the fire protection.
Page 15.
Yeah.
Page 15,
So I see that there's 2 pipes coming off of the detention pond.
correct?
The houses or the lots that are on the backside of this, lots 7, 8, 9, and 10, are they higher or level or lower than this area? And do we feel like those pipes are going to get the not flood lot 7 or 8 when the pond is draining?
Okay, I'm not sure that everybody in the audience has, so I'm going to try to verbally describe this. Okay? The lot, the piece of property itself, tends to drain from the northeast corner to the southwest corner. All right, that's the way the property runs. Which drains to the houses on Golf Club Drive. And I don't think that's a revelation to anybody here that lives on Golf Club Drive. But anyway, it comes that way. So there's a proposed detention pond that will detain some of this water in a heavy, and then release it over time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that you're not having the big wash that you're having today. There's also, the other pipe there is an inlet pipe. So it takes water in to the detention pond from an area that they're going to have there, a catch basin there that they're going to have there. Then you'll see that there is a berm along the back of the properties adjoining the Golf Club Drive residence.
Okay.
That is intended to create a swell for the water to run there and run down to the corner where it will reach a catch basin, and then route that water out to the Golf Club Drive, to the street Golf Club Drive, to the drainage along there.
And so one of the things that we've got today is conceptually we've got a plan. We do not have an engineered drawn drainage plan at this time with a stamp drawing on it. And I see Mr. Duke Levy is the engineer, and he's here today. That will be after we are through with the sketch plat and they are working on their preliminary plat. They will have to have a plan with calculations that show that there will be no net increase of water from this property pre-construction to post-construction. And so that will be on the engineer for the developer to come up with that plan, and the city engineer and the building official to review and make sure that they approve and that's correct before they start building. And but they're not at this point right now. But preliminarily, as Mr. Rich said, that's their concept that they've got.
And I did talk to the lovely lady that owns lot 7s and 8 there, and her and her daughter, and explain what this was attempting to do here. And right now, she's getting a considerable amount of water on lot 7. And this plan should eliminate a lot of that water flowing onto her property, diverting it to the catch basin there, and then into where there is no pipe existing. There's a very small drainage ditch there. So it should improve the drainage of her property, and where she doesn't have water being retained or detained on her property.
And the detention pond is so that it will, unless there's been rain, it should be dry. In theory.
In theory, if everything works out all right.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
in theory. And yes, that's the way it should be.
Okay.
Like right now, it should be bone dry, if it was there.
Yes. Okay. Commissioners, any other questions for Mr. Rich before we move on to comments from the citizens?
And they will be presenting an actual, like, a plan that shows where well, not the amenities, but like the mailboxes and the fire hydrants.
Oh,
and
yes.
those type of things, where
Yes.
they're gonna go to.
Yes, and the fire hydrants, I think there's one additional being
Yeah, I saw
required.
that notation.
And it's already, I know I saw on one of the plans, it was already noted there. Okay, yes. On one of the plans, it's already noted there between, what is that, E and J? Or E and D, I guess is what it is.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
So, we will move on to, public comment.
How about Jimmy, since
Oh,
he's the
that's right,
applicant?
I'm sorry. Yes.
We ask you to speak more into the mics.
Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I would like to remind all the council members, of the commissioners, to turn your mics on, and,
Okay.
and please, you're not having trouble hearing me, are you? No. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. We'll try to accommodate that. Thank you.
So,
I'm the
Jimmy?
best speaker because of content or volume? Okay. That's what I feared.
All right.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, if you're ready. Please state your name for the record.
James Jimmy Grotowski.
And
All right.
Jimmy,
Okay.
yeah,
All right,
just,
can y'all hear me now?
that's
Yes.
perfect. You
Okay.
gotta
Yeah.
kind of
Awesome.
maintain that
Awesome.
distance.
My name is Jimmy Grotowski. Do I give you my address? I can't.
Sure.
758 Augusta Way, Diamond, Mississippi.
Okay.
Tell us about your plan.
Yeah, tell us about your plan.
Okay, so to what we're proposing is the 17 units, but it'll actually be done, if passed, it'll be done in phases because it's hard securing a large loan at this time with interest rates and all that. So the first phase would be the first 4 unit, if you're looking at the sheet to the left. So we'd only clear basically a little bit of area and it wouldn't be a huge runoff. But the first thing I would have to put in is our retention pond to handle the entire drainage of the property. I just see that there's a shortage. My sister's a real estate agent, and there's a definite shortage for new rentals, and mostly what you could see is 40, 50-year-old townhomes that people may not. And I'm just trying to provide a newer option for that for people who are looking for it.
So these will be rentals, these will not be up
These
for
will be
purchase?
long-term and short-term, and if someone wanted to buy, like if someone came up to me and was willing to purchase them, yes, that's how it would go. It just depends on what the market's like with the interest rate and everything along those lines.
Okay. All right. So any questions?
So
from
they
the
won't be
commissioners?
sold
Well, what it was described to me by Duke and the other engineer was that if I was to make them, like, if I was to sell all of them, I'd have to, like, go to state plan coordinates and, like, divvy up every single lot and do all this. So it was a very intensive process. So,
So essentially, you'll own them, and then you're going to rent them out.
yes, that's the plan at the moment. Yes. It could be subject to change depending on other factors.
Hey, Pat, with that notation, do they fall into some of the new ordinance discussions we've had about short-term rentals and long-term rentals and VRBOs, where these units are?
Well, if it were a short-term rental, yes, it would fall under the short-term rental ordinance and have to follow that.
Okay.
With
Yeah,
getting a permit for that.
I meant to say long-term. I don't know why I meant short-term.
Okay,
I
so
don't
so
know
you're
why.
talking about long-term
Yes,
rentals.
long-term rentals, just like you would at High Point, or now people have been selling them. It's,
And so to clarify, so everybody knows the difference, in Diamond Head, short-term is anything that's under 30 days, and that's like your VRBO and all that type of thing, and
Yeah,
that's
not-
not your plan. Your plan
No,
is to
no,
rent
no,
these
definitely
to
not.
people
Understood.
that
I'm
live in
sorry.
them. Understood.
Thank you
And-
for the clarification.
And that was part of the comprehensive plan that Orion did for us. They said there was an extreme shortage of rental facilities, one, and then the smaller homes, smaller single-family homes. We have, one apartment complex over here?
1 8-unit apartment complex, that's R4.
Yeah.
On Oak Park Drive, I believe.
So there was a need for that type of housing. We didn't have anything to offer to people, so it goes along with the comprehensive plan also.
And the size of these units is how large?
Roughly 1,283 square feet.
Okay.
1280.
Almost,
1280.
yeah, almost 1,300, so they're pretty nice size.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, commissioners? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I've got the
Okay.
list somewhere.
Do you just want to call people up for me?
Okay.
please?
When we call you up, if you would state your name and address, and you will have 3 minutes, and we'll be the keeper of the time up here, so 3 minutes to make your statement, okay?
And
All
then-
right, and Ms. Gray, you are first.
3 minutes.
We've always had it that way.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. I forgot to put my name on that paper I put up there for you
Oh,
guys. But
Ma'am,
I am,
could you state your name and your address for the record,
I
please?
am Sandra Gray, 258 High Point Drive.
Thank you.
And I forgot to put my name on that paper I gave you guys. Well, I have several questions, and I don't think I can get them all asked in 3 minutes. And some of this information's already been discussed throughout the process here, which is good. But one question we have is, we would like another name to be considered for this development besides Townhomes of High Point. And if you read my first question already, it says that we've been in existence since the 80s, and we have a well-established and well-known private community, and we'd rather them choose something else. That does not sound like, our area is called High Point Townhomes Property Owners Association. So we would like the builder to consider another name. I was happy to hear about the trees, because we would like to encourage the Planning and Zoning Committee to see that the builder does leave plenty of green spaces and trees, which we have a lot of green space and trees, and we're proud of that, and it helps make our place more enjoyable place to live. We're also concerned about employee parking for the construction crew. We're concerned about vehicles, construction vehicles, where building supplies will be housed, how they can keep the debris from being on High Point property, because, we'll be sharing the same street right there. We have questions about location of dumpsters. Also an increase in traffic. That is something that concerns us. And also, if you read number 8, there's already a problem with the second entrance and exit into High Point, with people coming in and out because of the drivers coming from the, on Golf Club Drive, coming from the left, that may not heed the warning sign that's already there. We were also a little concerned about why 7 units would be in one building. And I don't know enough specifics about that, but one is 4, one is 6, and then there's one that has 7 units. And then mostly we're concerned about the debris from this construction, where people are going to be parking, the noise level, the name, and other things like that. That is contained in this document.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
You had 22 seconds left.
Mr. Rich, the next person.
Oh. Do you want me to address any of these?
You
Or-
can, please.
Okay, very
Okay.
good. All right. Number one, they've already made the change. They, instead of, it's Townhouses of High Point is what they've changed the name to. Okay, well, I'm just answering questions here. Okay. Green spaces, I think we've addressed that. Where will they park? There's a lot of land there. There's 2 acres there, so they can park on their 2 acres of land. There should be no need for them parking in your parking spaces because that is your property. Okay, it's not public parking. It's for High Point residence parking. Okay, where will the building supplies be housed? Again, on their property. Time of day construction, just like everywhere in the city, from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. Anything prior to 7 a.m. and anything after 9 p.m. violates the noise ordinance, and you can call the police out and get them to file a report. Debris, the contractor is required to have at least 1 dumpster, if not more, depending on how much debris they have. So that should be taken care of. So a call into our code enforcement officer, if they're not doing that, we'll send somebody out and make sure that that's being enforced. Okay. Where will they be located? Dumpsters are located right where the construction work is taking place there. Once they're permitted, yes. Oh, you're right. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, dumpsters for the residents? Okay. I can't answer that question. Jimmy, do you know? You need to come to the microphone. I'm sorry.
There's a concrete pad on the right side of the paper, so I guess that's more towards the water tower. If you're looking at the, it's kind of by that triangle at the very top of the page. There's already a pad with a dumpster on it that's a High Point dumpster. So I was thinking I could just pour another concrete pad next to it and put another dumpster right there. So it could be ease of accessibility. If I put it behind the buildings, everyone would have to drive their car down this gravel road and take out trash. I'd rather it be on the asphalt like everybody else in High Point does.
So the trash would be on the northeast?
It would be
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. And that's on your property? Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Sandra.
We have the one dumpster there where you're talking about. If you put another one there, I think that creates an odor issue, because we already have an odor issue with the dumpster there that we have to complain to Waste Management about and keep that contained, which sometimes it's not, and you put another dumpster there, and then you've just created more of a odor problem for the residents nearby. So if you would take that into consideration.
I definitely would. I was not aware of the odor issues, so I can't track things that I don't know. So that would definitely go into consideration. That was just one idea.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. All right, as far as traffic, yes, we are aware of the situation where the northern exit entrance and that coming over the hill on Golf Club Drive, that is something that we can have our engineer take a look at to see if there are some effective measures that we can take to slow down that traffic or make it safer or whatever, because that is a problem and has been a problem.
Yeah, if it's an existing problem, that's something that the council can, and the city manager can engage our city engineer to take a look at now, rather than waiting.
And the answer to your final question, 7 and 1, yes, that is allowed. Okay? You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Rich.
Okay, next,
Who's next?
Miss Nolan.
I'm Betsy Nolan. I don't live at High Point, but I own 217 High Point. I live in Diamond Head on Maunalani. I'm on the High Point board, and we are concerned about the new development, the drainage. We question whether we have a drainage problem at High Point already. And if you think it will be satisfied with a pond, what, not a pond, what kind of?
Detention pond.
Detention pond, okay. Well,
Yes.
okay. Another thing, in regards to the trees, I see other developments within Diamond Head that obviously did not preserve any trees, not a one, not even a bush. Okay, and on this site, I'm wondering, are you going to really go and see if these trees that you want to protect, if there are any? I really haven't looked at it that way. And can they facilitate the building of this development and not injure those trees? Or do they have a plan to replant, which is probably what they're going to do, because I can't imagine that there are enough beautiful trees to save in the spots where they want to save them with all this. Okay, let's see. Fire trucks, I see the fire trucks wanted that road in the back 26 feet wide. I don't think the road in the front is 26 feet wide. Does anyone know?
It may have been
that.
pre-existing any of the new ordinances that we have, but we can certainly take a look at it. I know there's some widening of the road on one side that the proposal will be that they've got to give the city some land for the widening of that road right in front of two of the units, actually all the units, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So that's to be addressed.
I always worry that when you do have a fire, how do you get the fire trucks in and the people out with limited access? I did notice, I came earlier or another time when you were talking about the development that's adjoining High Point by the 400 unit, and I swear at the meeting I was told there was going to be another exit, and I don't see an exit. I see a cul-de-sac. So obviously, if you're down there and you can't go up the road, that's it. You're stuck. So anyway, those are my concerns. Okay.
Okay. The concerns with the road, the fire department, what we've got at High Point, the width of the road is what we have. Okay.
And you're adding more property, people, and you're not making that road wide. You could make it wider before they put the property lines.
As that gentleman stated, these were put in there a way ago, and now you want to put more traffic on it, when we paid for these originally to be put in there and then dedicated to the city?
Sir,
But we, okay, excuse me, sir. We have a format to follow.
Yes.
Please,
Thank you, Mr.
respect
Bridge.
that. Thank you. The roads that are there now are built to handle the traffic and additional traffic. So I understand what your concerns are, and I appreciate that, but that's not part of this process that we're going through today. We'll take that down as an objection. At the microphone, please, ma'am.
Okay, according to this plan, you have an opportunity to at least make the road that adjoins this development wider by pushing those parking spaces, to which there are not 2 parking places for every condo, or whatever you call them. There's like 1.5.
There's a total of 34 parking spaces for 17 residents.
40, yeah.
So that's two
There's
per,
2 per.
which the ordinance requires.
Well, this picture doesn't show that. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. We have a problem already at High Point parking. You know, we don't have designated parking, but we do have at least 2 spaces in front of every unit. So, anyway, I just thought maybe you'd like to widen that road while you have the chance.
Thank you.
That's something we can.
Next.
Next is Mr. Peter Higgins.
This is on the next variance.
My bad,
Okay.
excuse me. High Point. Mr. Whitmore.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Charles Whitmore. I live at 308 High Point Drive in Diamond Head. And first thing I want to say, I agree with everything that Sandra said and Nola had to say. But one thing that came up this evening that I was quite a surprise was the idea that these are going to be rental units, not for sale. Why they want to call them townhomes when they should be calling them apartments. I moved to Diamond Head from Bay St. Louis, where I rented an apartment for 5 years when I moved to Bay St. Louis from Jacksonville. I moved to Diamond Head because a criminal element moved into the apartments where I was living because the landlord had no idea who was living in the apartments. They'd run a criminal background check on the person renting the apartment. That person would move in, and then the criminals would move in with them. So I'm very concerned with having 17 rental units, right across the street from where I live. Number 2, based on this sketch here, it looks like the exterior is going to be white. Well, High Point is a soft color, gray, maybe with some white trim. So white is a little glary to me. Not a big issue. Number 3, 7 units in one building, 6 units in another building doesn't conform to anything in Diamond Head. Even the condominiums have at most 8 apartments in a building, 2 stacked, so 4 across. In High Point, we have 2, 3, or 4 units in a building, not 6 and not 7. I think, Jimmy, it'd be very easy to separate the 6-unit building into 3, separate them by maybe 30 feet. That would enable you to add 2 additional overflow parking spaces in that 30-foot gap, or whatever it would take, maybe 40. The 7-unit building could be separated into 4 And 3, and again, in that gap, add a couple of extra parking places. That would also give you 4 additional N units. And N units, Sue might know about this, if you have an N unit, you might get a little bit of a premium for those N units, either as a rental or a sale. So it'd be to your benefit, and it would decrease the appearance of a dense structure, a dense development. So just a little separation.
Okay, sir, your time is up.
Okay.
All right,
That's
thank you so
really all.
much.
Thank you very much for your attention. Will there be a follow-up meeting when we get beyond this?
This, excuse
This
me,
in the final approval?
turn this off.
This is just to approve the
Sketch.
sketch plat.
Right.
Thank you.
And it
Thank you.
goes to city council after this.
Yep. I can't stop it. I need my granddaughter. The attorney took care of that. All right, next on our list for High Point is, pardon me. I'm sorry, we took what you said. You were concerned about, one comment I will make. My understanding of this is going to be, they're selling the units are for sale. So if somebody wants to buy them, but he's also planning into his plan, he's doing 4 units first, and, or the building with 4 units first, and depending upon how that goes, will determine where he goes next with that. So he's not looking to build 17 units at one time. He's looking to build 4 units, okay? He's looking at the possibilities, if he can't sell them, that he could rent them out. Well, that's what any resident in Diamond Head is allowed to do, is to rent their property out, okay? Only if it's a short term, less than 30 days, then you must get a permit. But if you own a unit there and you want to rent it out for a year, 6 months, or whatever, you have the ability to do that as a property owner. I think that's all the feedback I got.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Okay.
Gerald, yes, sir.
My name's Gerald Benninger, I'm sorry. Gerald Benninger, I live at High Point 207. The thing that kind of concerns me, again, was, as the gentleman pointed out, these roads were put in that we initially paid for, okay? Why couldn't they have taken this and looked at it from coming off a Golf Club Drive to eliminate this problem here and flip the buildings so that the buildings are facing towards our roads and the parking spaces are coming towards this way and go right out on Golf Club Drive? Why wasn't that even considered? To eliminate this dangerous problem here, and you could sit here and come right back out. I also have a problem with somebody that doesn't have the financing in place to do the whole project. That makes me scary. That should scare everybody in this room. One of the other things that they're still unknowns. Well, they have an association. But again, I don't even know why this wasn't considered to be flip-flopped, because these roads, again, were built for High Point, and we paid for them and then dedicated them to the city. So now they're going to put additional traffic on these roads that we initially paid for up front. So I think that they didn't take that in consideration, and they could actually move those units back and put a road in right in here. Since you have a relationship with the lady at 6 and 7 down there, she may want to sell to make a road there. I don't know. I'm just saying that this is another opportunity that can possibly happen. But again, these were designed not to handle this kind of traffic. You all should have driven these roads. You should know, with the golf carts that come down those and everything. I don't see how this is possible, if this will be feasible. Again, crime, all these different things we're going to put into it. No, we don't know about the association. We don't know about. There's just so many unknowns here right now that I can't. My list can go on and on by just looking at this thing, because it just really frightens me that we don't know where this water is really going to. It's supposed to go to the detention pond, retention pond, and then drain out to the street. But, until we have more detailed information, we'll never know that. So, again, this is just a preliminary sketch. I'd like to see more detailed information about what's going on. I mean, I've lived here 40 years. I've seen this place change. And it's just, I don't think there's going to be enough green space. I don't think it's going to be safe in that neighborhood with all the traffic and the way it's designed right now. Got it done in less than 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of good questions.
And next we have Cindy. This is the lovely lady's young daughter. There's a lovely lady back there.
Okay.
My name is Cindy Siebert. My mother, Joanne Siebert, and I live at 77109 Golf Club Drive. Our lots are 7 and 8. We're part of the southern border of the development. We acknowledge that prior owners to our property have extended our backyard into the development, and they did a really nice job of cleaning out the trees and adding lawns and trees and shrubs. It looks really nice, but we've been benefiting from that unauthorized use of that land. But we are used to that, and we would ask the developer to slightly reposition the drainage retention pond to save an island of trees and shrubs behind her house. We would ask that the existing pump house on the southwest corner of the property, right now it's surrounded by natural trees and woods, and we really can't see it. And we would like to, if it's possible, to leave that natural woods around the pump house, the existing pump house. And of course, like everybody, we'd like to see as many trees and natural woods saved as possible, especially along that southern border of the development. And then lastly, we really do have a problem with flooding on our lot 7, on our southwest border. Not only from the development, but also from Golf Club Drive. I mean, we get a sizable lake in our property that takes several days to drain. My neighbor, Dell and Mary Pearl over there at 77107 Golf Club Drive, have a drain in their property for the runoff near Golf Club Drive.
I'm sorry,
However,
I'm sorry, is that lot 9? No,
lot 6.
lot 6. Okay, sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Okay.
They have a drain in their property, but our property drains over their driveway to get to their drain. So it's like their drain is not on the low part, our lot is. And we're hoping that we can work together with the city to correct any drainage problems. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rich, is there any more for public comment?
I do not believe so. Anybody else? None.
All right. Jimmy, do you want to address anything before the council, the commission?
So in my notes, I had the saving trees part. On that note, my parents' company has actually built the Preserve Phase 1, which is down the street from High Point, and we also built Bowview Phase 2, which is by the water tower. And on both of those, we had marked the trees. I think for the first subdivision, it was 110 trees we had to save. On the Preserve, it was 107. The city came out, and what we do is we just take like yellow marking tape, we go around a tree, we mark it. The city comes out, they check that we met the number of trees. They do it before, well, obviously you had to do it before you build, and then when you get an as-built at the very end of the project, they come out again and walk it, so they make sure that you have the required number of trees. So I wouldn't be trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. They would have to check it on the back end. Also, putting the road behind the units, that would just be kind of intensive, I would think. There's an easement for that pump station, so the Water and Sewer District probably would not allow me to put a paved road right there. And the main reason I have that gravel area is because when you put in any new infrastructure such as water, sewer, or mostly sewer, the Water and Sewer District has to be able to access that. And on these subdivisions we've built, we've always had to put in a gravel road so they get their pump truck in. So if you have an overflow on your sewer, they could drive that back truck down there and vacuum the line to clear up any issues. On the rental thing with getting the criminal element, I'm actually a criminal justice major from USM. I used to work at Stennis Security, so I'm definitely not going to have any criminals. My parents had one rental unit where they trusted a Section 8 thing, and it ended up very badly. I would never, ever in a million years ever rent to anyone along those lines, and I can guarantee that and stamp it. That's not me.
I have just one question.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
if you did not sell any, if you kept all of the units, is your plan to have a POA, or will just any maintenance be included in the rental, the monthly rent?
I don't think we have a POA. We would probably just take care of all the grass cutting, all the maintenance ourselves, because we're actually a decent part of the community. My parents have built a ton of houses here over the past 25, 30 years, so it's not like it's not like if there's a problem, we just like up and leave and not take care of it. So we'd be able to handle that in-house.
I have a question too. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ginger.
Just to clarify, so you are saying that they're going to be offered for sale, and if they don't sell, you're going to then rent them?
Yes.
I'm just making sure I
And,
understand.
Mr. Ronald Jones and I went over this just a couple minutes ago. I'd have this, each unit would be subdivided, so there'd be 17 individual lots, basically. So they'd be residences. So if someone came in and I built the 4 unit and they wanted to buy all 4 units, I surely would sell it. I'd hope to build all 17 and see whatever, but yes, so I could either sell them, if someone came to me and said, I want to buy all 4 units for market value, I would definitely sell them.
But are you going to put them up for sale?
Yes, like I said,
Initially,
I would,
they're going to be up
yes,
for sale.
yes.
In regards to the concern about the pump station, are there any screening requirements that the municipality has regarding pump stations, lift stations, that type of stuff? I mean,
Yes, there are. So that'll be taken care of.
okay.
Right now, I think vegetation is what is screening that. And as long as you can continue using vegetation, that'd be fine. But if you drive around, you see everything's behind a fence or it's not sticking out looking at you.
No, understood. I just wanted to, I know
Yes.
that was one of the comments that
Right.
Miss Cindy asked.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I was just wondering if you have a price point for these units?
I don't have that
Not
on top
yet.
of my head right now.
Okay.
I'd have to get with my sister or the real estate.
I'll call
depending
Gina.
on the cost. Yes, ma'am.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so,
You ready for me?
sure.
All
Yes.
right.
What is the recommendation from the staff?
The recommendation is to approve it with these 3 conditions.
Okay.
Condition number 1, Structures of Diamond Head is responsible for any off-site drainage improvements. So the drainage improvement that they're talking about coming off the north west corner of their property and putting that drainage in there, they would be responsible for that, not the city. Okay?
Right.
We have a drainage easement. We can give them access to our drainage easement to do that job.
Okay.
Okay?
And that's the retention pond that you're talking about?
No, that's where
Coming from
the corner of the property where it's gonna drain down to Golf Club Drive.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. Number 2 is the building the fire department access road to the storage shed, as requested by the fire chief. And then the third one is to adjust the property lines where the streets, if you'll notice that it looks like the property line overlaps some of the streets. So similar to what we did with East Aloha, okay, where we did some property swapping there, do the same type of deal with that, so that he's not owning part of the street. Okay? Those are the three conditions. And they've met everything else.
So when we make our recommendation, it needs to include those three recommendations?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. So, we've heard the report, we've heard from the, community, and we've heard the staff report. Do we have a recommendation from the commission to the city council to, approve the request as stated with those three recommendations? Conditions, conditions.
Motion.
Motion?
I so motion to approve the plot map as it is with the three conditions. And I know, Jimmy, that there's a lot more to come that we look forward to seeing and discussing in the future. Hopefully alleviate any of the concerns of those people in the direct area. Thank
Do
you.
we have a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion amongst the commissioners. Okay, so if there's no discussion amongst the commissioners, we will call for vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes.
And so just for everyone, that will be a recommendation to the city council. The next city council meeting is next Tuesday at 6 o'clock right here. And so this is simply a recommendation to the city council.
Okay.
And
moving on.
just to explain that a little bit further, and probably should have done this on the front end, this board is a recommending board on most items that come before it. We make a recommendation. This gives the public an opportunity to hear what's going on, to express your concerns, and then you will have that same opportunity at the commission meeting, at the council meeting next Tuesday in this same room here. So you'll have an opportunity. But they won't go out there and request you sign up. You got to get up there and sign up. So, okay.
Okay. So next item of business is Elliott Homes LLC, represented by Josh Fleming, has submitted a request for a variance from the subdivision regulations, Article 308.6, to allow the construction of a cul-de-sac 723 feet in length. The variance requested is 123 feet. The property address is the proposed Hallelujah Lane at Diamond Head Lakes Drive in the Diamond Head Lakes subdivision. The tax parcel number is 067L, check 0, check 35, check 012.000. The maximum length of the cul-de-sac is 600 feet. Of a cul-de-sac is 600 feet. The variance requested is 123 square feet. The case file number is 202200448. Mr. Rich.
Again?
Again.
All right, let me set the stage for this.
Okay.
Actually, this is something that Elliott Homes, through their representatives, came to us with. It's something that we did not catch during the final plat approval process, and they had a cul-de-sac that exceeded 600 feet, 723 feet. So they came to us and said, we need a variance for this. So we started researching this to find out why is this 600 feet, and we talked to the fire chief, and his explanation to us was that 600 feet was probably back years ago as a legacy rule, because everything that we did when we became a city was took POA stuff and made it into ordinances, okay? So this was probably something that the POA had, that you couldn't extend 600 feet. 600, okay. So they're requesting that. I guess that's all I'm gonna say right now.
Okay,
I don't want to jump ahead to
okay.
what I'm recommending.
Mr. Fleming, would you like to speak?
Oh, he's not.
Okay. Please state your
Much-
name and
much
address
better.
for the record.
Kara Wagner, 134 East Cedar Drive in Gulfport. Sorry, I don't reside in Diamond Head yet. I am here to speak on behalf of Elliott Homes. Thank you guys tonight for taking the time. I know it's an extra day job to do this and be here and listen to all of us. We are here today to seek a variance, like he said, for the cul-de-sac length. It's 123 feet too long, and it would just kind of be a waste of space if we didn't use this up and put some homes with families out there. So we're here to seek this variance. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'm here to hear it.
Will this change the plating any that y'all have right now?
No, so that's the point. It was already approved for sketch plat and everything as shown, and so now we're just kind of trying to shore up the loose ends to make sure that can still continue and proceed on.
It was a catch after the fact, and the engineers caught it and brought it to our attention.
For a sketch plat, not for a final plat.
Yes.
Correct. Correct.
Yes.
Do we have that sketch in here
Yeah.
I
someplace?
think it was in
I'm sorry.
a part of the package.
And I was
I'm
a little
flipping to it.
confused because on item A, whenever it asked special conditions, it said that this was aiming to please the adjacent residents
Yes.
and put in a cul-de-sac rather than a T intersection between this and Diamond Head Drive, but I was a little confused at how this was going to intersect with Diamond Head Drive.
So apparently this was a little bit before my time, but
Okay.
from my understanding, if you can, I can point on the map and show you. Or-
Sure, you can come point.
So apparently at one point in time, there was a discussion continuing this road straight through right here. There was discussion a long time ago to continue the cul-de-sac and make it a road, not a cul-de-sac, and continue it north-ish and connect it to Diamond Head Drive. Apparently, the residents in this area right here joined next to where that drive would have gone were very unhappy with that. So that's how the sketch plat got to this point where we are today. And now we're just realizing that to keep things going, we need a variance to keep the cul-de-sac and not do a straight-through road.
Will the termination of this road, turning the road into a cul-de-sac, impact the rest of your development in this area?
No, so that's actually was the original design, the original sketch plat that was approved is exactly what you see. So
Okay.
actually, that's what our design is. That's kind of what we need to go with, and that's why we're hoping we get approval for the variance.
Okay.
Pat, with the additional length, are there additional fire hydrants that are going to be added in?
Negative.
Our
Yeah.
fire hydrants will all properly be spaced according to the requirements of the fire department and any ordinance
So,
regulations.
so the fire department's not asking for any more? No. And the fire department is happy with this. What the fire department told us was, as I stated, this was legacy passed in 2012 when fire trucks only had 600 feet of hose on them, okay?
Right.
Now they've got 1,500 feet of hose on it, so it's an unnecessary, and it's something that we're going to have to clean up in the subdivision regulations, so we don't have to deal with this anymore. So that's on my list of things to do, okay?
All right, thank you, Pat.
One of many things.
Okay.
You know, huh?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the community that would like to speak on this?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
All right, first we have Mr. Peter Higgins.
Good evening. My name is Peter Higgins. I live at 96489 Diamond Head Drive West. I received notice as an adjacent property owner about the variance request from Elliott Homes. Got a short prepared statement. The Elliott Homes application for a cul-de-sac variance from 600 feet to 722 feet should be denied for the following reasons. The current 600-foot limit for a cul-de-sac should not be amended or a variance granted. Should the ordinance ever be amended, it should be decreased in length, not increased, because there is more than a distance of fire hose at stake when you allow not just the extra small home sites that are being planned, but the satellite of small homes around, ringing around the end of the cul-de-sac. Think evacuation, think safety. This is the end of a cul-de-sac, 723 feet. I believe most residents believe that this pristine 25 acres in the middle of the Cardinal Golf Course should have been developed similarly to the Glen Eagle properties that would have provided the city a similar amount of tax base, but that is not what we got. Sadly, the Elliott development denuded and leveled the area, leaving only a handful of trees, an ugly dirt pit, a drainage ditch, and the promise of small houses and lots to remind residents and golfers daily that Elliott Homes' commitment is here in Diamond Head. Let me close by addressing the required item A response, number 3 and number 4 by Elliott Homes. Number 3, which I think you have there before you, number 3 is untrue. Aiming to please the residents of Diamond Head Drive West, as stated in their application, has been the opposite object of Elliott Homes' intention, evidence of their lawsuit brought against Diamond Head West homeowners 4 years ago to construct a road where only single-family home lots were plotted. Evidence Elliott Homes' efforts to burn debris at the expense of the health and safety of Diamond Head residents. And factually, the greatest untruth here is the assertion that an extension of the cul-de-sac is in lieu of a T intersection onto Diamond Head Drive West. The issue of that T intersection was litigated, and Elliott Homes lost their bid for the road in circuit court. So there is never going to be a possibility of a T intersection there. So. Number 4 states that the variance will not give any special privilege or rights to Elliott Homes. There are no similar properties for comparison, and therefore the special privilege of a variance to extend a proposed cul-de-sac beyond 600 feet exists only for the benefit of Elliott Homes. Thus, their statement is untrue. The Elliott Homes application is untrue, false, and misleading and should be denied. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Okay, thank you very much.
Next, we have Mr. Louis Ertel.
Good evening. My name is Louis Ertel, 96491 Diamond Head Drive West. I'm Mr. Peter Higgins' neighbor, and I would tend to agree with him in what he said about the T intersection versus the cul-de-sac. It cost the 5 homeowners in the Highlands area over $27,000 to litigate against Elliott Homes to win the approval from the court saying they could not put that T road through there. So they did nothing to appease the neighbors there. That was $27,000 on our homeowners' cost to fight them in court. So they can't put that road through there. My question is, the original plan called for the extended cul-de-sac, is that correct? That was approved by the city?
For the sketch, yes.
Yes.
So that longer cul-de-sac was approved by the city
Correct.
already. What they're asking for now is what's already been approved by the city.
Sketch-wise is conceptual. And so the conceptual design was approved, but then later on, when you get down to the nitty-gritty as relates to a preliminary plat, then you see other things that regarding that.
Okay, so then my question is, has the Diamond Head Water and Sewer Board seeing it as a longer extended cul-de-sac or as the original 160 feet cul-de-sac? What has the Diamond Head Water and Sewer Board said?
The latest plans you submitted to Diamond Head Water and Sewer District show the current cul-de-sac.
It has, because right now the Diamond Head Water and Sewer Board is in, I guess, some issues with the way the infrastructure and the lines are being put in right now, and there seems to be some disputes right now between the way Elliott Homes is doing it and what the Water and Sewer Board is willing to accept. Is that correct?
Not to my knowledge, no. So far, the first phase of the subdivision's been approved and accepted by David Carden of the Diamond Head Water and Sewer District. He's reviewed our plans initially already, made a few random comments, but nothing big. So far, everything is meeting the Water and Sewer District's regulations and standards, and we're doing everything accordingly.
Geez, that's really unusual that you say that, because I talked to David Carden just before I came to this meeting, since I'm a commissioner on the Water and Sewer Board, and that's not at all exactly what he said. He said there are a number of issues with the infrastructure that you people are putting in and what the Diamond Head Water and Sewer Board is willing to accept.
Mr. Ertel,
Okay.
excuse me, please.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with Water and Sewer Board. This has to do with this variance here. And what's going on with Water and Sewer, that's a completely different district. The city's not involved in that.
I know it's a completely different district, and I think it would be in everybody's best interest if the city and the zoning commission and the Water and Sewer Board would all agree to everything ahead of time and avoid the issues down the road. And I just think everybody would be better accepted if they could all work together ahead of time. And so
And
I would
we
ask
agree,
that.
we agree with you on that.
Okay, and so
All
I
right,
would ask
any
that
other
the
statements?
Water and Sewer Board has something to say about this issue before anything is accepted. So I would suggest that you table it until you can come and have everybody at the table accept what's going on.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
The water and sewer's already been ran in that area though, right? Correct?
Not this area.
Not this area?
Future phase. So
Okay.
we're currently designing water and sewer that they are currently reviewing. So they've had one review. We are updating things, and after we submit plans, the phases are changing. So, but it's been in their hands. They've seen them. They made one review, and we'll be back for more. So we will always continue to bring them with all.
Okay. Mr. Rich, is there anyone else?
Let's see. Mr. Gaines. Oh, you want to take his place, Robin? Okay, very good. That's all, Madam Chairman. Person.
Okay, staff report?
Staff report is, as we say, in looking to find out what the reason for the 600 feet was. And the reason for the 600 feet was the hose. The fire chief does not see, we did contact the fire chief and work with them, and he says there's no reason for it to be 600 feet, that they carry significantly more, and that he would recommend that we go ahead with the variance.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Rich from the commissioners?
So therefore,
Recommend
our recommendation is that you approve the variance as requested.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, do we have a motion to recommend to the council to approve, the recommendation as it's written?
Myself, I would like to table this discussion for a later date, because I need more, I need to review this more and understand what actually the issues that the residents are looking at. So that's what I would like to do.
Well, the one problem we have with that is we have a mandate to give the applicant a decision within 45 days of the application. So any delay in that, and then we have violated the law, and anything we do will be challenged. So my recommendation to you would be to discuss it and either approve, recommending it to the council, or deny the application and recommend that to the council with your reasons for denial.
Can I provide any further information to clarify anything?
Can it be approved with conditions?
Absolutely.
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 Conditions, modifications.
We need to start with what we've got first, though, correct?
Right, I mean, procedurally, what you would do
You-
to
you
get
would
to
have-
this
yeah.
point where you all can start your discussion is to have a motion and a second on the
Right.
table. So you can have a motion and a second to approve, and then you can make a motion to modify it, add conditions, whatever you want at a later time.
So would you like to withdraw your motion to table?
Yes. I withdraw my motion to table.
Okay, thank you. So do we have a motion to approve what is written or reject it? We need to approve it and then, right?
Whichever you want to do.
Yeah,
Whichever
you
way
can-
we wanna go.
Yeah, you would typically make a motion to approve. You can talk about your conditions, and then when the vote comes, you guys will, the recommendation will either be to approve or not to approve.
Okay.
And either way, it will then make its way to the city council.
Okay. All right. So do we have a motion to approve the recommendation for the city council as it's written,
With condition.
with conditions? Okay, do we
Well, there
have a
weren't any
second?
conditions. Never mind. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
Not
thinking
yet.
about the other.
Not yet.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have a second?
And so if you all don't make a recommendation,
I will second the motion. Okay. Discussion amongst the commissioners. Yes.
I would like for us to consider a condition of approval with the condition of a secondary approval by the Water and Sewer Board on the additional services and stuff that are required for this 123-foot extension.
Can we do that?
Okay, I think we're talking apples and oranges.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's what I need to know.
Okay.
They're two different entities.
This is a
Yes.
portion of the subdivision regulation,
Okay.
okay? And it's not part of the Diamond Head Water Sewer regulation.
but I will say this to kind of, to maybe put y'all at ease. Obviously, whatever they do there that impacts the water and sewer district will have to have the approval of the water and sewer district, or they don't. So by its very nature, the water and sewer district, the portion that they are in charge of, they will have to approve it.
This is a City of Diamond Head subdivision regulation, not a Diamond Head Water and Sewer ordinance or regulation. I don't think that they care how long it is, as long as they have the appropriate infrastructure there to take care of it.
Thank you, Pat.
All right.
Okay. No, that's.
No,
over.
no, comments from the public has closed. Okay. Commissioners, anyone else?
What needs to be done to update this to the 2018 ICC code?
It would take a text amendment and a recommendation from you all to the council to make that text amendment. And so one of the things that Pat is working on, and you know, some of our engineering firms that work with the city and represent developers have talked about some tweaks. As you know, it's what is it, about 2 years, maybe a little bit longer that the ordinance has been in place. So there are some things that we've got to tweak and update. And that'll probably take place many times in the coming years. But we're trying to kind of compile a few to do so we don't have to keep coming back to do it, and this will be one of them. So in the coming months, the administration will go to the city council, recommend that we come to y'all, have a public hearing, and have all these recommended text amendments, and then you guys can have your public hearing and debate it. And so that's the way the process would work to make the amendment work.
Okay.
And look, we've kind of done that in the past with accessory structures. We were getting a lot of variances over time on accessory structures. And one of the things that the staff and the administration kind of suggested was, you know, we see a need, we see the residents wanting this, we're approving them more often than not, maybe we need to just update and amend the ordinance. And we did. And what we've seen now is we've had one accessory structure variance in the last 6 months where we used to get, 2 a month. So, you know, we can kind of, you know, we see that and we can kind of develop that and as changes are needed.
So any further discussion from the commissioners? Okay, so we'll call to vote. All those in favor of approving the recommendation to the city council as written, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, so motion, do we need to do a roll call vote on that?
It's up to y'all. As the chairperson, you can decide if you want to do that, just to make sure we're clear.
Okay, Tammy, let's do a roll call on that one since.
Commissioner DeBrey.
Aye.
Nico. Brewer.
Aye.
Cook. Lael.
Abstain.
Bennett.
Abstain.
Flowers.
Abstain. Abstain.
All right, we're just making sure we get it right so that we, Tammy, you got it? Okay, and so what's the final count?
4 to 3.
4 in favor and
No.
3 abstentions.
Nope. 4 abstain, 3 in favor.
Favor.
Therefore, the motion fails.
Okay.
So,
Bennett, Lael, and Flowers. Abstain.
And
Nico.
Nico abstained.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so procedurally, and I love when you all make me think late in the evening, this still does go to the city council, and it goes, the motion to it goes without a recommendation for approval from you all. Okay? So,
All right. Okay, so moving on to number 5. Craig Berger.
You're welcome.
Okay. Craig Bergeron has filed an application requesting a variance from the zoning ordinance, Article 4.5.5G, to allow the construction of a 1,700 square foot residence on a lot designated 2,000 square foot minimum. The variance requested is 294 square feet. The property address is 6410 Huco Court. The tax parcel number is 131D, check 2, check 13, check 009.000. The property is in an R1 zoning district. The minimum square footage for this lot is 2,000 square feet. The variance requested is 294 square feet. The case file number is 202200450. Mr. Rich.
Okay. That fell. All right. Mr. Bergeron came to us. He has 2 lots on Huco's Court that he has combined into one. Both lots are in the 2,000 minimum square foot. That was before any changes that we did. They've been 2,000 minimum square foot since 2012. Okay. So he came to us and said he wanted to build a smaller footprint house, and is asking for the request to do that. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Is Mr. Bergeron here? Okay.
He's right there.
Good afternoon.
My name is Craig Bergeron. I reside at 2368 Quayle Way on the south side of Diamond Head, on the airport side.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm looking to request a variance because I guess I feel that those requirements were based on the lot possibly being on either a waterfront or a golf course lot, because with after the interviews and the people that I spoke with to inquire what was the reasoning behind, the only information that I could receive was that's how it's always been, and was told that what you could possibly do is just file for a variance to see if it would allow it. But the total square footage of the home is just under 3,000 square feet, so by no means is it going to be a little shack, because I know if I was already there and I had neighbors moving in, I wouldn't want my property to suffer a to become a cheaper price point or lower property values because somebody's coming in and putting something that's extremely small compared to what I'm building here. And I'm just hoping that we can get this passed to move forward, because this is the last remaining thing that I have before I can start my permit application over again, because that was the one denial that I had.
Is this going to be a primary residence?
Correct.
How long have you owned it?
It's been since 2000, either the end of 2019 or the beginning of 2020. So it's coming up on 3 years now that we've been working on this project. It seems like for every step forward, I'm taking 2 steps back. Now that the economy and the cost of materials is skyrocketing, it's kind of giving me a kick in the gut.
Mr. Bergeron, you mentioned that it was a 3,000 square foot, but your application is to lower the requirement below the 2,000 square foot to allow you 1,706. How are you coming up with your 3,000 square
Well,
foot?
what I mean by that is it's under beam. The under roof square footage is 2,986, but the heated is only 1,706. We do a lot of outdoor entertaining. My garage is almost 700 square feet. The rear porches are 350 square feet. And the front porches are 250 square feet. So by no means is it a small home. It just may appear that way because of the heated portion of the square footage. Seems smaller than what we were hoping for.
Do you have, oh, excuse me.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you have any idea of the square footage on
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's 3 other houses on that
In that
cul-de-sac?
area?
Yeah.
I looked today, and they all range anywhere. I've seen 2 of them that are as low as 1,700, and some that are as high as 3,000. So there are a range in that little body that I'm referring to, which is that there's a pond there.
Right.
And if you look on the Hancock County GeoPortal site, it shows a large parcel, and it seems like even though the minimums of all of the cul-de-sacs that butt up to that property owned by Diamond Head, they're at 1,400 minimum. The parcels that are adjacent to the Diamond Head owned property are all at 2,000. So we were just speculating that they put these higher minimums because eventually they were thinking maybe it was going to be waterfront property. Because my next door neighbor, Mr. Glenn, would come out during the time frame when I was tagging all of the trees before they did a land clearing, and he mentioned that this body of water that I live on, where my little fishing pier is, was supposed to be a lot bigger than what it is, but it never came to that. And at the time, I didn't really put 2 and 2 to think maybe what that could mean, but after seeing the larger parcel and all of those lands, parcels of land being 2,000, maybe that's what it is going to be eventually, that it may become waterfront.
I guess I'm confused. How would this parcel that's in this picture become waterfront?
Well, that's the smaller version of it, or
Right,
the
that's-
zoomed-in version. If I don't have that.
I mean, Pat, would y'all consider if that pond was dug out more, would you consider that waterfront?
That's the way it was designed, yes.
Okay, so it would be waterfront if the rest of the pond was dug out.
Well, this was done in 2012.
I understand
okay?
that.
All right, so I don't know what their reasoning, and all I can say is that's probably what the POA had the minimum square footage
At.
for these lots,
Okay.
was at 2,000 square foot. Now, what their logic behind it, I don't know. You know, I don't know where the water and the golf course and all that. I mean, we did make those changes with the latest minimum square footage we did.
We did.
It said water and golf course would be larger minimum square footage.
And like I mentioned before, that was just me speculating with all of the people that I've spoke with, because I went through and counted out of 209 parcels that have a minimum square footage of 2,000 square feet, 202 of them are on water or on the golf course, and those other remaining 7 are neither, and one of those are mine. But like I said, that larger parcel of land, the bottom half of that photo that you can't see beyond the south end of that water, is on a parcel owned by Diamond Head and extends roughly a mile and a half south of that. And all of those other parcels that are not waterfront or golf would lead me to believe that that's what they were thinking, that it was going to be waterfront eventually. But being that it hasn't, I was hoping that they would reduce the square footage, being that I'm not waterfront or golf.
Well, I don't know if it was waterfront or not. I know that I believe that's what the original plan of this was, because you've got the pond right there, and then you've had siltation and all come in here and fill some of those up. So even if it's not a pond there, it is still wetlands there.
Right.
Okay? So we're talking about wetlands here.
Wetlands, okay.
Okay?
What-
Whether that has anything to do with anything or not, I don't know.
How large did you say your back porch was?
350 square feet?
Have you thought about making that a sunroom, and that would negate this issue with windows?
Well, the square footage or the availability of space on the home to create the additional heated square footage is not a problem. I have what is available for a bonus room on the second floor, and I could do that to alleviate the square footage minimum, but that goes back into the financing portion of it.
True.
With what I've got invested in the property already, plus with the building cost today, it exceeds what the bank is willing to allow me to borrow, so it's gonna have to sit until further notice, until either things calm down or if I decide to sell and try and find some other location in Diamond Head to move to.
Well, that bonus room that you're talking about, there'll be stairs up to it, there'll be a door.
There's space
won't be
there
finished.
that can be a stairwell put there. In fact, the wall of the living room was where the stairwell was directly behind it. But when my engineer drew up the plans, we included a breezeway, since we made the house and the garage separated by an air-conditioned breezeway. And he says this is where we can put the stairwell if in the future, when you decide that you can afford to increase the square footage, we can locate it there.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any comments from the public?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I have one minor question. You're planning on developing just lot 11, not both lots?
Well, the house is going to be, the majority of the house is going to be on the south lot, closer to the body of water, which is down by Mr. Glenn. Now, the other lot, I left enough room there that if I want to increase, like I said, square footage upstairs, that's another location that I can build an additional structure if time and finances permit at a later date.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, the lots are combined currently.
Okay, staff report?
Staff report. All right. Staff recommends denying the variance based on the following findings of fact. Special conditions or circumstances do not exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved. This was done in 2012. It'd been done years before that in the planning of it. So this was always intended to be a 2,000 minimum square foot, okay? The surrounding properties on either the side here, you've got some 1,400 square feet there, but they don't border on this pond or wetlands area or whatever you want to call it. But up at the corner of Calipaconia, that's a 2,000 square foot. The one next to him is a 2,000 square foot, so we got 2,000 square foot. I'm gonna just cut to the chase. I don't see any reason to change this to change the square footage on this piece of property to accommodate this, especially when there is a alternative that could be used by Mr. Bergeron to make it a minimum of 20,000 square feet.
2,000.
2,000, I'm sorry. 2,000.
Whoa.
So,
Okay, I'm sorry.
so the,
Zeros confuse me.
so the purple area across from the fake pond, I mean, I don't call that a pond area. So the area across from there is 1,800 square feet though, correct?
Yes,
All right,
yes.
The dark purple is 18.
Yeah, right.
And the light lavender is 14.
14.
Yes.
And there's enough space in the bonus room area to get to your 3,000, but your concern is the costs, correct?
Okay. All right. So we have the staff report. Do we have a motion to recommend to the council to approve the request as stated? Did I say
To-
that right?
No, to
No.
deny the variance
To deny
as
the request
requested.
as requested.
Correct.
Can I ask one quick question before we move into that, Commissioner?
Sure.
In order for it to be required, it's 2,000 heated and cooled, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The bonus room area,
Yes, sir.
it's not set to be heated and cooled.
Not as of right now.
If it was heated and cooled, it would meet the standard,
Correct.
whether it's sheet rocked out or
Correct.
not.
Correct.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, the day that I went and spoke with them, they said that it requires electricity
Right.
and all of the other amenities that would be considered heated.
That's heat.
Correct. So basically what I guess kind of what I'm saying is that whether just by keeping the space available for me to build and not doing anything else, no sheetrock, no electrical, no plumbing, none of that, they said that won't work. You have to have, at the very minimum, electricity and
So one light bulb
One light, and then it has to be heated and cooled.
and a heat, yeah, and a window unit?
I'm trying to help you out.
oh yeah, I understand.
Help me out here. If it's heating, a habitable room. Yeah.
Okay.
That means,
Electricity and heat,
and sheet rock on the wall.
sheet rock on the wall. Okay.
So it does have to
Okay.
have sheet rock.
Okay, habitable room. Okay. Right.
No, it's not on water though.
Okay,
It's not on water.
okay.
Okay, thank you. I
All right,
appreciate
thank
it.
you. Okay,
Thank you.
so
When we voted on this, it said to be 1,800.
it's wetlands. Okay, so, hold on. Okay, so do we have, thank you, sir. We'll let you sit back down for a minute. Okay, so do we have a motion to recommend the rejection of this request as written?
Do you have a motion to recommend the approval of it?
Yes, do we have a motion to recommend the approval?
I have a motion to recommend the approval of 1,800 square foot, which we just recently approved in the same area off the drainage ditch or whatever. So my recommendation would be 1,800 square feet, not 2,000.
Okay, so wait a minute. So your recommendation is for a 200-foot variance? Rather than a
Not,
294?
rather than a 294.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, so that's what needs to be stated, that your recommendation is for a 200-foot variance.
Let me see, let me get back to the,
Right here. So you're recommending a 200-foot, he needs to come up with 94 feet. He asked for that. Right, so he needs, you were asking for a 200-foot variance, so your recommendation,
no, I'm not ready.
200 feet, yes.
So, yeah, so my recommendation
Your
would be,
motion, yeah.
my motion is to recommend the variance of 200 feet.
Okay, 200 square feet, so where does that put us, 200 square feet?
1,800 feet.
1806.
No.
1,800.
1,800.
1,800.
Yep.
We have a motion and we have
Do we
a
have a
second
second?
by Mr. DeBreau.
Okay, so discussion amongst the commissioners. Are we okay with this house being 1,800 square feet? Okay. Okay. So all those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so motion passes. All right.
And so again, that'll be the recommendation to the city council for next Tuesday, that the recommendation that you be granted a 200-foot variance on that property.
Yep, so find 94 feet under roof.
Not a problem.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so any unfinished business from the last meeting?
No.
No. Okay, any open public comments for non-agenda
No.
Commissioners' comments? Okay.
No.
Okay, for communications and announcements, the next city council meeting is Tuesday, November the 1st, 2022 at 6 p.m. The next planning commission meeting is Tuesday, November the 8th at 6 p.m. Do we have anything for that agenda?
Oh, yeah.
You gonna give us a preview?
No, not really.
Okay, so
What,
Just-
what have I got? Two?
You got two variances.
Okay,
What
so
are
just
they,
for the
Tammy?
new commissioners, because we are going into the season of holidays, the schedule is a little tight and moved up so that we don't have to have a meeting on Thanksgiving week.
So our next meeting will be the 8th.
Yes,
So that'll be, how many Tuesdays? 2 Tuesdays
like
from now?
2 Tuesdays.
Yeah, 2 Tuesdays. 2 Tuesdays.
Okay.
We have a
Yes.
variance from
And we won't have
Nassau,
another meeting until
a
the
vendor.
Yeah.
on the south
Pat,
side,
Yeah.
I'll ask him just a second.
having
Okay,
Yeah.
so
And
do
what
we
other?
have a motion to adjourn or recess?
Adjourn.
Okay, do we have a second? All those in